Hi everyone, welcome to Fishing 101. So this is a very brief, quick guide for fishing in these kind of waters around Kaveri. So essentially, angling is a method where you catch fish using a lot of equipment, but the core concept is that there is a hook like this, a hook made of metal, and we want the fish to swallow the hook partially, and then you pull the hook so that it gets stuck to its lip, and then you pull the fish to the shore. That is how fishing is done. So getting the hook into the fish's mouth and then striking or making sure that the hook gets lodged into the fish's mouth and then pulling it to the shore is the entire knack of angling. And how do we get this done? How do we get the hook into the fish's mouth? So essentially there are two methods of how this is done. Okay, one is called as the casting method, where we use this kind of reel. It's called a casting reel. So a casting reel is where you hold the rod on this, what is called the trigger grip, and then the reel is above you, and the line goes straight to the water. This kind of fishing is what first came, and it's popular only with the with the experts who are very well known to this sport or thing. The other method is called as the spinning reel. Spinning reel is what we use because spinning reel is more forgiving. This is a spinning reel, and the spinning reel, the line moves at an angle, and then it gets into a reel in a 90-degree manner, so that there is lesser chances of the line getting into knots. So what is line, what is the reel, everything, we'll come to that. So this is a typical fishing rod and a fishing reel, and what I'm showing you is a spinning rod and spinning reel. So the rod itself can be made up of many sections, and they have a lot of small holes here called as eyelets. So this is one, this is one. There is also a handle for you to hold, and a mode where you can loosen and tighten a particular part of the rod into which you actually put in your fishing reel. So I will explain all the parts of the reels to you, So in a fishing reel, very importantly, there is something called as a spool. Okay, a spool is the place onto which you have the line spooled into. A line is what we use to catch fish, right? So this thread, thread-like thing that you see here is called a line, and there is essentially two kinds of line. One is called as the braid, one is called as the mono. The braid is more of a woven material, and it is very light and strong, but it is susceptible to damage when it rubs against rocks and all that, whereas mono is like abrasive resistant, and this is what is used more in these waters. So this line is actually very strong. They come in 10, 15, 20 pound gauge, in the sense this line can take a 20 pound weight. So you can easily catch a 10 kg fish with this kind of a line. Now the line is woven to the spool, which is part of the reel. The reel also has a few other parts. Okay, so what I'm opening and closing here is called as the bail arm. Okay, and this is the handle for you to spin the reel. So in the reel you have a spool, and then you have a handle, you have a bail arm. In the front there is something called as a drag setting. This is called as a drag setting. Okay, I will explain what this is for you. So essentially what you do is you hold the rod in a particular manner, and then you swing the rod so that the bait that you are putting at the other end of the line. So from the spool you have this line coming through all the eyelets, and then it gradually goes down into what I'm holding as this is a kind of a rig. This is called as a feed rig. So what we do here is we put something at this end which has got a hook, and the something that you put there is what is going to attract the fish. So this is the bait, and there are different kinds of bait. So what I'm holding with me is called as a feed bait. So this is nothing, essentially a spring into which we put food that the fish probably likes. So you see I have put one here. So this is the food that is around the spring. You can make out the difference, right? And then there is something called as the hard baits. So all these are hard bait. They are made of hard plastics or different kinds of material. This is also a hard bait, which is spools and different things. Now these are all soft baits. This is a soft bait which looks like a frog, but it's got two sharp tips on either side. and this is another kind of soft bait. So all these baits we use to catch the fish, and there are many more. I'm just showing you a few. Each of these bait at the absolute end of the line, you have the hook. So this is for the bait is to attract the fish, and we hope the hook gets lodged into the fish's mouth. How this is done is that when you fill this with food, and when you keep the hook like this, when a fish comes, fish don't usually chew like us, they suck the food. So the food is slowly being, whatever food you put here is slowly coming out, and the fish is sucking the food. When it sucks the food, it also sucks in this small ball. It's called a pop-up ball, or you can put thermocol pieces and stuff like that. So it sucks this also. Once the fish sucks this and it goes into the fish's mouth, the fish tries to run away. When the fish tries to run away, this line starts to run. The line starts to move. Once the line is moving, now you know that the hook is probably in a fish's mouth. That is when you need to strike the rod. So when you strike the rod, the hook gets lashed into the fish's mouth, and then you start to reel in. Now before you reel in, you have to make sure of the drag settings. So in the next step, I'm going to show you how to cast the rod and what settings have to be maintained. Okay. So let's go to the water.